We're good? What's going on, guys? Bob Mechanic here again. Thank you very much for watching. Today I'm going to show you the power of the wrist. Now, when it comes to the wrist, I like to pay a little bit more attention to the wrist because it has a lot of nerve endings going on in there, specifically mechanoreceptors, which the mechanoreceptors sense motion to the joint, and the brain now receives that information, and the more it receives good information coming from mobility of the wrist, the more looser you feel, not just only in the wrist itself, but to the entire body. Quite frankly, the wrists are neurologically connected with the ankles. So you'll notice that if you move wrists, your ankles might also start feeling a lot looser. In neurology, there's this thing called central pattern generators, where it basically says that we have the same kind of nerve connections from a wrist to an ankle. They're also called mirrored neurons. So when we mobilize a wrist, we tend to actually feel even looser on our ankles. It might actually help your squat a lot. So in this video, I'll show you some basic mobility drills for the wrist, and then maybe adding some more resistance to it to make it a little bit more challenging. I'll show the first exercise down to the ground. I'll get down to my hands and knees. I'll focus primarily on my left wrist, and then you can definitely do the same thing to your right. Now in this position, I want to first focus on mobilizing the fingers, and I'm going to do now this thing called finger waves. So from here, I'm going to curl my wrists, and I want to put some body weight on it, which means I want to try to really feel the stretch of every joint from these are called phalanges. So we're going to try and curl here, there. I feel now a big stretch on every part of the finger, and then here to the knuckles. Now once I reach here, be very, very careful. I'm going to try and bring down the wrist, which is a very big stretch. Definitely feel the stretch around here. A little discomfort on the wrist itself, but it's okay. As long as it's controlled, you're fine. From here, I will then go back again, keep on pressing the wrist down, using some body weight, coming back, and we're right here again. So the same exact thing. I'll give it about 5 reps. Get the wrist down, nice and controlled. Here, here. Again, if you are having some issues with the wrist, having a lot of stiffness, it's okay. I'm not expecting you to try and forcefully push it down because we do not want to move into pain. You want to go until you're able to tolerate it. So about 5, maybe 10 reps in this position. And then from there, I'm going to go into wrist circles, where I'm going to keep my fingers spread apart. I'm going to have now my index finger and my thumb, kind of use them as legs. So I'm going to go from here with a fully locked out elbow. I'll go up. You can see now how the index finger and the thumb kind of look like legs. And I go down here. I'll press down. Feel a little bit of the stretch now on the anterior portion of my forearm. And then I'll fully turn. Notice that my elbow is fully locked. I do not bend it. Here, elbow locked, come up. You'll go down and you'll turn. Same exact thing, palm down again, go around, down, and turn. One more time. From here, I'll come up, down, and turn. So there you have it. Now, when it comes to the wrist, and just like I mentioned before about this whole opposing joint concept, you'll notice that if I want to move my wrist into flexion, so this is now called wrist flexion, my ankle dorsiflexion will improve. So it's opposing joints and opposite movements. So let's say I have an issue with dorsiflexing my right ankle. This is about as far as I can go. And I'm going to focus now on trying to flex my wrist. I'll relax it, flex the wrist, relax it, flex. I want to make sure I feel the full stretch here. Relax, flex. Give it about 10 reps here. Definitely get a lot of cramping on the forearm. It's okay if you cramp, shake it off. Do it again. And from there, I'll retest my opposite ankle, and I can automatically feel an increased dorsiflexion on my right foot. Let's say I want to increase now plantar flexion. This is about as far as I can go now on my plantar flexion. Then I'm going to focus on wrist extension right here. Use a lot of muscle. You should definitely feel the tightness over here. I'll relax it. Up, down, up, down, up, down, If I give it 2 more reps here, 1, and again, 2, I'll check out my plantar flexion. And actually, I don't know if you see it from there, but that is a lot more than before. I can actually feel a lot looser. So now you can imagine how a wrist might help you a lot for your squatting. Now, specifically, I like to make things a little bit more complex for the wrist because it is a multi-joint area. There's a lot of joints, a lot of bones. So my ultimate favorite is either making circles with the wrist or figure eights. For a circle, I'm gonna break it down into 4 parts. I'm gonna go wrist flexion, wrist extension. Notice that I'm moving a hand and a forearm together. Here, here. And then I'm gonna move into deviations. Here and here. I'm now involving some shoulder rotation. So when my shoulder internally rotates, my hand will deviate out to the side. When my shoulder externally rotates, my hand will deviate in. And this now is deviations. All 4 now make it a circle. Up, in, down, out to the side, up, in, down, out to the side. You see now how this becomes a circle. To make it even more complex but much more beneficial, see if you can do a figure 8. I'm not trying to show off here, I'm just saying if you're able to do this, give it a shot. So I'm gonna go up, down. So you can see how I'm trying to make a figure 8, which requires a lot of focus here. So if you actually hear me mumbling a little, because I'm really trying to focus here, I'm actually breaking a sweat doing this. And you'll actually feel this quite exhausting because, like I said, it has a lot of brain power. It's calorically expensive to keep on moving a hand and a wrist a lot, so you'll actually find this quite fatiguing. Do not overstress. You may want to take a Gatorade for this one because you're going to need a lot of glycogen in that brain so you can be able to withstand a lot more wrist movements. To load this up now, you want to put some increased resistance as you're getting better. A load can be either increasing the speed, change the position, such as a shoulder press. Give it an overhead, such as snatching. But I also like to use some bands. So if I take a simple Monster band, red color, which is not that heavy, I can keep it down. I can just hold it up, anchored around my left foot, and I can just keep it up here, and I can just focus on just making circles in this position. But I can feel now the more muscle activity. I can start to get a lot more sore now on my wrist extensors. So you can tie it here. You can hold it with the other hand. For example, if I hold it here and I can just go this way, where I'm now focusing more on the outside part of the wrist. Now you can hook on the band anywhere above, anywhere out to the side. Now the purpose of the band is to just load it a little bit more. If you don't feel secure with the band, you can just simply do plain wrist circles on its own, but see if you can do it faster, and maybe you can do it in different positions. Here and here. So now, as much pumped as I feel right now in my entire left arm, I like to use the wrists because, like I said, they have a tremendous power. You'll feel a lot looser on your ankles. It would actually help a lot for those who experienced a lot of ankle strains. If you're currently experiencing any ankle pain itself, you might want to use the wrist as another tool to help you get rid of that pain, to actually decrease your swelling down there, because again, the nerve connections from the wrist to the ankle is tremendous. So this is now the power of the wrist. Use it wisely, go slow. Speed is the fixer of everything. So go very slow to make sure you're getting everything accurate, and then start picking up the speed, put a band on it, and from there you should feel a world of a difference. You can actually feel some neck mobility increase. When you change one thing in the human body, when it comes to neurology, the entire neurological map changes. So a simple wrist can do wonders. So let me know your thoughts, comment below. Thank you very much for watching.